Well, here's what I'm thinking on this. I'm hoping that my hope, but I'm sure it's not going to happen, is it's going to be a slow burn, and that the arrogant Galadriel will eventually learn humility towards the end of the season and actually has some type of hero's arc. I'm big on
Mhm.
Joseph Campbell's works, and this thing has nothing about the hero's journey or anything like that. It's just kind of I will admit I watched most of one episode and just couldn't take it anymore. It just felt like just random
Yeah.
scenes that four different writers kind of came together and said, "Okay, I need 15 minutes. How much time do you need on the episode? I need 20 minutes." And then they just kind of randomly interlaced everything with no glue holding anything together. So
Mhm.
I kind of stopped, and I'm hoping by the time they're done, the acclaim will go up and it will be, proclaimed that, oh, it is actually a good show. She had some development. She had an actual story arc. She's not just, God with a sword, killing an ice troll in 6 seconds without looking at it. So I can dream. So I'm going to stay mostly out of this discussion just because I don't have any relevant knowledge on it.
All right, cool. All right, so where do we begin? So, Gray, what did you think about episode 6?
Uh, Nothing, not much has changed. It's still the same thing. Bronwyn's for some reason she's the hero. For even though it's literally everyone else who did the heavy lifting in allegedly fighting the orcs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the first thing. It's like so they started off with Adar making the speech like, okay, blah 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 blah, we're gonna invade the tower, we're gonna invade the watchtower where Arendir, Bronwyn, and everyone else are.
Mm-hmm.
Then when they got there, apparently the villagers were not there. They were wondering, the orcs were wondering, where are they? Where are they? Go look for them. Turns out it was a trap. It was a trap of sorts. Arendir shoots the shoot. They designed the mechanism such a way that the torch in the watchtower falls down on them. Then
Mm-hmm.
Arendir flees from the tower because he can't take them all on by himself. Then from a short distance, the villagers were like cheering, yeah, instead of just running away. It's like, why didn't they just run away outright? Why
Mm-hmm.
did they make? I'm not sure why they made their stand. What do a bunch of villagers have against an army of orcs? I I mean, it would have been logical for them to run to cities where there's an actual army rather than staying in a nearby village and trying to defend themselves. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
Then what else? What else was there? So okay. So mainly in Galadriel's side is still just them sailing to the Southlands to fight Adar apparently. Then yeah, so Arendir and Bronwyn they actually made out already. Then Theo is assigned in the tavern. Apparently he finds out where the hilt of the sword is hidden, even though Arendir didn't disclose to anyone where he hid
He
it.
just knows. He's
Yeah, he
just
has the
really smart.
nose. Yeah, a lot of things happened here. Okay, a lot of not good things happen here.
It's for me. Okay, like at the beginning, yes, like yeah, you see like them attacking it, and it's like yeah, it's like oh, it's basically like freaking Akbar is a trap, right? And he sets up this contraption to like get. I'm not sure how many orcs like he ends up killing with that contraption, but um it's like so they all just like flee and they're like oh cool, and then the next day, since like they're like these albino orcs are afraid of sun, we're gonna build this like small village really quick, right? Like we're gonna go ahead and build this village, and then yeah, we're just gonna hide out here instead of running, even though this village is probably not that far.
yeah,
And
and
it's
I think
dumb.
it's the same village, right? It's the same village where they got the food.
Yeah, so they went back. Wait, so if this is so if that's the case, then they just reinforce their crappy ass village where they already know where the village is because there's like we've seen like at least two orcs show up in this location already,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And we even have like in a couple episodes ago, we even see Theo going back to that village. So like, why would you not go to a different village? It's like, you know what? We're just gonna go back to the location where they already know we're gonna end up going. It's such a dumb. It's. I'm so close to using the R word, but it's so dumb, right? It's like lazy writing, and it's like, oh, you just go back over here because it's easy, and it's stupid. I think that boat scene was sort of like Isildur's like talking, and then he's looking out, and then his father comes in
Oh
with the boob
yeah, yeah.
armor, and it's literally like it's like, yo, this is my son, and then I don't know, like it just seems that this all feels like fan fiction, right?
Yeah.
Like this all feels like fan fiction where like I don't really care about any of the characters. Like we already know what's it called, like Gil-galad, Elendil, Isildur are the ones who sort of, and Elrond is supposed to lead the charge, and for me, I'm just like, okay, in this one instead, we're gonna make Galadriel the badass, and then of course they have to use a bunch of shit that they already used in the, what's it called again, in the movies. Like, hey, remember that one part where what's it called, Arwen whispers into the horse and then the horse goes faster. It's like, yeah, we're gonna put that in there. Remember that, right? And then like all these other shit that we remember from the movies that we really like, was like, we're just gonna repurpose them, recycle them. This is where, like, it's sort of like, why do you not have any more creative writing instead of it's always going to recycle stuff that we know that the fans like? Hey, remember this? Like straight up member berries and stuff. It's pretty dumb. It's pretty
As
dumb.
someone who's not watching it, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So does
Yeah,
it
sure.
feel like the stories have a coherence tie to them, and that they're pushing an actual plot forward, or is it just, as I said, from the little bit I watched it, it just felt like 4 different writing groups writing story chunks that, hey, this would be a cool looking scene, this would be a cool looking scene, this would be a cool looking scene, but it's not actually pushing an entire plot forward. Is it getting more, we have a plot, we have a goal, like, the final episode, does it feel like we're going to a goal in that? Or is it just random stuff just on the screen because it's pretty pixels?
In my opinion, we have 4 of the stories, right? We have 4 stories, right? We have the Durin, Elrond, and then we have the Harfoots, Galadriel, and then the Bronwyn, Erondir.
And
So
Arendir,
and
yes.
yeah, Erondir and Galadriel's merge right now. So right now there's 3. So that story is pushed forward. The other ones is more like, oh, who is this person that we know is Gandalf? And then you have another one's like, oh, this is Mithril. And then give me the meat, give it to me raw.
Give it to us or we will die by
Yeah.
spring.
So it's just like it's like, okay, we have the goal of explaining Mithril, let's create a sequence around that.
Mhm.
Is that kind of what they're doing, rather than, they had, on their whiteboard, they had a bunch of, tags written out. Okay, we have to do something to explain this. We have to do something to explain this, rather than here's our flow through the entire season. That's what it sounds like it's becoming from everything I'm hearing.
Yeah, I would say so. What's your take, Grae?
Yeah, I think they're putting their own problems in it to even though they have a wealth of source material to base it on instead that were much better written. Like the Mithril in the last episode, not this one we're talking about, the one previous to that. They apparently were introduced. Oh no, that was episode 4 where the Mithril was introduced. But the dynamic they're going through for episode 5 is that the elves already somehow knew that the dwarves had Mithril in their minds, and they need it. Apparently, they need it so that they could survive, or else they will lose their immortality and eventually die. So, what the problem they apparently built up is that Gil-galad was using Elrond to as a means to reach out to the dwarves to somehow try to get the Mithril from them. So like they made a problem where the dwarves probably wouldn't want to share it at first. Then the elves trying to sneakily trying to grab the Mithril. As far as I know, I don't think that's in the books because I could be wrong, but I think as far as I know, the elves and dwarves kind of help them out already without having the kind of tension or the problems that this series is setting it out to be. So it's like they're creating their own unnecessary problems just so it feels like it's filler to fill up to provide more content, even though it's not good for each of the episodes. That's what it feels like to me.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, but it's so the and then moving forward for this episode, I I do have one question, right? So why if what's it called again? Muriel is supposed to be like the queen regent, and she's like supposed to be commanding. Why is she actually physically there in the Southlands? Like if she, if she's gone and she's the only one that's basically still mentally sane to rule what's it called again? God, Numenor. Like why is she here? And it's like we have the other older dude. I forgot his name already, right? We have the older dude, the one who looks like Moses. Yeah. He looks like Moses, and he's basically like, okay, cool. I'm gonna be maybe temporarily in charge, but like, why does she need to be there? It's so weird, It's like I don't think she needs to be in the Southlands.
Yeah, that's the thing. Also, good thing you brought that up. I think it was Gary or it was as at Hughes babyface. Like, Muriel never got to rule Numenor. That's a mind blow.
Okay.
She never got. She was supposedly never supposed to be queen. Like, she was about to be a regent, but somewhere along the line, not long after, there were some more political movements at play that ended her not being the regent. So in actuality, she never got to rule Numenor. So it's here she's the actual queen, which makes it even more baffling. So like they're really making their own spin on it. That's not really sticking the landing. They're making it even worse. I mean, yeah, you've got good source material already, but they wanted to insert their own identity politics because a woman of color to be the ruling queen of a particular nation. That's what they're going for.
Yeah, man, it sort of feels like they're rushing it. You know how it's like DC is to Marvel is it's how like okay, Marvel took several years to set up what they did, and then when it came together, you're like, okay, this is worth the wait, and this makes sense. Versus DC rushed it. Now, in sort of like mirroring contrast, is like Jeff Bezos wants this to be the next Game of Thrones, which is not going to happen. And then we notice, I believe, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's season 7 where all the rulers of Westeros were all female. Right?
I believe so. Yeah, it's been a while.
That was earned, in my opinion. Like they worked up to it. We have you have the what's it called again? Daenerys. You have the person from what's her name? I forgot her name already, but she's from Dorne. And then you have the older lady, and you have Cersei, right? All of them earned their place in terms of getting the power. Versus this one, they're like, oh, let's make everyone girl boss, right? We have Bronwyn, and then who's supposed to be like better than some of the knights from Numenor, and then you have Galadriel, warrior Galadriel, and then with Muriel, who's literally just like, hey, Bronwyn, you did a good job. It's like you're a queen, let's go ahead and slay and stuff. And that's how it felt when what's it called again? When Muriel basically came, like she basically sat up in like on top of the hill, just basically monitoring the entire battle. And she was like, yes, right. Usually maybe the captain doesn't do anything or the queen doesn't do anything. Maybe she doesn't know how to fight. But when the whole battle was over, she goes down there and is like, Bronwyn, good job. That's all she does.
Yeah. You know what's the funniest thing about that scene? Whatever happened to the arrow that got pierced behind her?
Nothing. It's plot armor.
she got hit. She got struck by an arrow from behind, and it protruded her body. It's like that was like literally just a few hours ago. And when she met the Queen Regent, it's like nothing happened. What happened to that arrow?
She lost so much blood. Like, I'm like, clearly there's a crap ton of blood that's literally oozing out, and I believe she got shot like right below the collarbone, right below that area, maybe near the neck area. Like I'm like that's where a lot of the veins rush through your to your brain. So I'm like, yeah, you lost a crap ton of blood, of course. And then I was watching with my wife, and and then and we're like, she's like, is she gonna die? It's like, no, she's not. She is not gonna die. They're not gonna kill her off. We're gonna need someone who represents a strong female that represents the Southlands. But now it's actually that a representation of the Southland goes towards Sauron. I mean Halbrand, and it's just it's pretty bad. I hate that. There's one thing that I literally laughed out loud because I thought it was so ridiculous. Is when I guess I think they were either trying to throw like a spear or a javelin at Galadriel, or they're trying to like shoot her down with an arrow, and she does this weird. All of a sudden, she just flips backwards. Like
Yeah, the backflip, the backflip.
yeah, she
I
this,
saw
backflip
that
thing
scene.
where she
Oh
like
my
goes
god!
down and it completely, and she does it twice, which is
Twice,
stupid. Like,
twice. She does it
like,
twice.
okay, yes, we know you. We know you're strong. All right, and I mentioned this in the earlier stream, couple streams ago. I'm like, I 100% guarantee you that they're gonna ship Galadriel with Sauron, and it seems like that's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's there's only that one scene after the battle, right? Like there, I forgot what they said, but it's like, they were sitting on the rock. There was like, they were like wrapping things up. Like there was this, I forgot. It was kind of forgettable. That's why I forgot. Galadriel was kind of saying like, I felt that way too. And then they were looking each other eye to eye. It's like, yeah, it's looking that way. Until they were interrupted by the soldier. Halbrand, Queen Muriel wants to see you. And then Halbrand goes off. But you know, they're setting it up to be that way. At least to a certain degree.
Another thing that was I thought it was dumb too was what's it called again? You see Adar running away, right? Fleeing after the Numenorian soldiers came. It's sort of that and that scene totally reminded me of the battles for at Helm's Deep. It's sort of like, oh, they're pinned against the wall now, and they're all coming. All these orcs are coming in. You know, better get ready. And all of a sudden, you know, at the you know, the first light, look to the east, and then you see like Gandalf. Like it's exactly the same. It's like they literally a MacGuffin just comes and they basically kill all the orcs. And then you see Adar running away, and I guess like he ends up handing the what's it called, the sword hilt to the older gentleman. And when it's funny is because Theo is like, oh, the only reason why I would feel very empowered is if I had the hilt. And then at the end, you know, when they quote unquote took back the hilt, and with Edendir, it's like, here you go, here's the hilt. You know, this is literally the one ring, you know, in our TV show. So here's the hilt, and then. It's funny, is like they never once thought about like, hey, I'm gonna open this up to make sure this is the hilt. And then here you go, little boy. And he opens it as an axe. It's like, of course they're gonna swap it. And it obviously looks smaller. I'm pretty sure it's a lot less heavy, is because it's a tiny axe. And then the dumbest scene, which I knew was gonna happen, happens. Right. The old dude basically goes back to the watchtower, which I guess the elves were stationed there. Like, we're not sure why Edendir and the other elves were stationed at that at the tower. And I guess, you know, like in the last episode, like they opened a little shrub and they see like the Sauron mask kind of thing in the keyhole, and they put it in, and of course Mount Doom basically blows up, and it's like, oh crap, there's Mount Doom. You know, it's man,
that's fascinating.
Yeah, that scene too. Going back to Arondir giving Theo the hilt, isn't that kind of like, isn't that so counterintuitive? Like, example, you know, you have a friend who's like addicted to cocaine, something like that. It's like, okay, here's what I'll do. I'll give you the cocaine, and you have to get rid of it yourself. Is that really the best? Is that really the best way to treat him? Is that really the best way? It's fun. Your solution is to actually give it to him right in front of him and hoping for him to get rid of it. It's like, what kind of a friend are you to actually do that to someone you know? It's like, I found that so weird too. Then also backtracking to before Galadriel and the Numenorians arrive. Back to the okay, after Arondir kills some orcs in the watchtower and flees back to the village. So right there, okay, we need to prepare. We have to fight. We have apparently they have the higher ground, as they claim it. Then but I find it so weird, even in the perspective of Arondir. Like, the first wave of orcs, right? They were like they were very prepared for the first wave, obviously, because they had the advantage of surprise. They had the element of surprise. So
Mhm.
like Bronwyn miraculously kills an orc by herself for no
Mhm.
apparent reason. So they trap the first wave of orcs within the village because they've set up a blockade when they arrive at the village with the one on the upper side and one on the lower side.
Mhm.
They set the carts on fire. Then the archers, the villagers came out of the rooftops and started shooting the orcs that were trapped. So they were like, "Yes, yes, we did it, we did." They it didn't occur to them that some of them would be the villagers that defected to the other side. Why?
It's weird. Yeah, like for me, I'm just like you would have known is because like they won't sound like the villagers, and you know that most likely the villagers aren't going to be as I don't know as tall or as strong or even like they look different, but they're trying to make it seem like oh like a dramatic moment. You know, you actually
Yeah,
killed your own
exactly.
kind and stuff like that.
It's like it was only revealed after they all died. Like Arondir saw the helmet. It's not an orc. It's a villager. It's a villager. Then
Mhm.
it what makes it all the more baffling is Arondir, who's apparently this 200 plus years experienced warrior. You know it's not over. You know that's such a small wave of orc units, and Adar wasn't even there.
Mhm.
Why were they cheering so hardly that it's over and they won, knowing that there's gonna be far more approaching already with Adar behind them? I don't
Mhm.
know. It's like they created like some sort of artificial means. Like it's kind of like it feels like a filler in that point. Like
Mhm.
of course they were gonna lose. What they were it was in such a way that they think that they were winning just because they beat the first wave. I mean, everyone had to know that there's a larger wave coming, and
Yeah.
Adar's not there. Yeah, I don't know. It's really dumb,
Yeah,
really
and and
stupid.
and I completely forgot that like Adar actually let Arondir go so he can, deliver a message or something like that. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, they actually know one another." Like, yeah, so you should have seen like, "Okay, where's Adar? He's not here." Like did we completely just, beat him? It's like, "No, we didn't." And yeah, it's you have that and then you have okay, they completely get, you know, like for me, like if I was Adar, I would have came in and basically like started to kill a bunch of people already. It's like, no, we're gonna hold everyone hostage, right? We're gonna hold everyone hostage first, and then we're gonna slowly kill them. Like for me, like we should probably already know that Theo had the hilt, and it's like they should have probably gone after him first, and then maybe I don't know, like Arondir would have like okay, the hilt's here. But I wonder if Arondir would have let Theo die, because like he originally didn't want Theo because it was Theo the one who sort of like, oh, I know where the hilt is. It's because I'm a sneaky motherfucker and I know where everything is, right? So he's just like, okay, here it is. So I wonder if they went after Theo first, like if Arondir's like, all right, just let him die because he's gonna hand this shit over. Anyways. Right, like the
Yeah.
lives of the many outweigh the lives of few. Screw you, little kid. You're barely alive. You're like what, 12? Let's kill him. Well, I don't care. I know I've been around for 200 years now. But yeah, it's I would say that another dumb scene is the picture that's on the screen right now. It's like everyone's literally
Mhm.
like, okay, the Mount Doom has just erupted, right? And literally you see like fucking like giant like boulders hurling down from the mountains, like crushing people. You actually see one person actually gets crushed by one of them. The houses and the huts that they were all in were getting destroyed. Everyone's panicking, and you even see like Queen Muriel like, "Hey, everyone, get to safety. I'm gonna get everyone to safety." Versus the person who's that's supposed to be in charge of the whole armada is literally just looking up at the mountain, not doing shit, letting everyone die. I'm like, okay, this is the Galadriel that I don't remember. She's not like this in the book at all. I'm pretty sure she probably is more, empathic. It's empathetic towards the villagers or something like that. But over here, it just seems like, you know, maybe she's so in shock that she fucked up or something, or she failed or something like that. But it's just such. I'm still not liking her. All right, you have 6 episodes already. You have 2 more episodes, and I still hate her. And like for me, I don't think it shouldn't take 6 episodes for me to like a character. That's 6 hours. right? And I feel like this show is gonna be. It's I believe last time I checked, it's Amazon on Amazon. It has like 3.6 out of 5, which is pretty low. And I'm pretty sure they're putting all their eggs in the basket and knowing that they're completely getting crushed. I believe even like She-Hulk is getting better reviews or better.
She-Hulk is getting better.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah.
So how far is Doom from this village, approximately, if you had to guess?
Maybe. All right. If I would have to guess, I would say maybe 25 miles tops.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they'd be at a pyroclastic flow area. I was thinking they weren't playing anything realistic. Like Pompeii was 5 miles away from Vesuvius, and got completely buried. I mean, they would be buried in ash right now. Probably a lot of very bad gases, things like that, and seems like just a few boulders are hitting them.
Let me actually bring up another image of like right as the explosion happens. So let me go ahead and bring up this one right here. But yeah, they're pretty damn close to it. I would say.
Did they at least have a shock wave or any effect?
Yeah, there was a shock.
Yeah, they
wave.
did.
Okay,
they
cool.
did.
So they're doing a little bit of science in there.
All right. So here's let me see. Go ahead. There it is. So basically, it's basically so it's up on screen right now. She's basically looking up, and all she's seeing is like smoke.
That does not look 25 miles away.
It could be closer. I'm not sure how big Mount Doom is. It could be maybe 5. It could be like Vesuvius in Pompeii. But sort of where the lightning is where the what's it called again? Mount Doom is.
Yeah, they'd be getting some pyroclastic flows there. They'd be buried in 4,000 degree, hot ash at this point.
Thanks for checking out this segment of the Project Eggroll podcast. If you like what we do here, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you will know next time when we go live. We do go live every Saturday at 8 p.m. Once again, we are just getting started. Tons of more video to come. Thanks, and we'll see you guys next time.